An epic $35 billion solar failure. Let's have a look. Good evening, everyone. Florian here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because, well, a viewer sent me this article, and thank you very much for sending it through because I may have missed it in the news today. And this is to do with a huge $35 billion voluntary administration. Let's check it out now. This is the, solar venture backed by Forrest and Cannon Brooks goes into voluntary administration, $35 billion. Remember the project where they want to build the solar panels in the desert and then transfer the power to Darwin and then to Singapore? Remember that one? I still don't know how it's going to be feasible and how it's going to actually work out, but we'll have to see. I don't think the engineering is quite going to be there, but there we go. So a $35 billion solar venture backed by billionaires Andrew Twiggy Forrest and Mike Cannon Brooks has gone into voluntary administration. One of Australia's largest renewable projects backed by prominent billionaires has collapsed. Renewable giant Sun Cable has proposed to build a $35 billion solar farm in the heart of the Northern Territory, with the cable to provide green energy to Darwin and Singapore. I mean, if you want to provide green energy to Darwin or Singapore, what if, now hear me out, you send coal over there and they burn that, and then we just burn some scrub in a different part of the season and burn enough of it to claim the carbon credits, to offset it. Why not that? That's how some of these projects are, guys. It's all smoke and mirrors. I mean, on Wednesday, the company confirmed it had gone into voluntary administration. Christopher Hill, David McGrath, and John Park of FTI Consulting have been appointed as voluntary administrators. In a statement, Sun Cable said the move followed an absence of alignment with the shareholders' objectives. What the hell does that mean? An absence of alignment with the shareholder objectives. Oh, boy. You know, this is the good thing with all this. You've seen all the new AI bots and everything that's coming out. All this corporate wank. It'll just be shifted to AI bots to write it all. While funding proposals were provided, consensus on the future direction and funding structure of the company could not be achieved, a Sun Cable spokesman said. I really hope they haven't stiffed anyone with some money. I hope all the creditors are going to get paid, particularly with these big names behind it. You'd think you'd be working for a company attached to these guys. They'd have enough money, but that could go either way. You know, the rich guys, they can be sometimes the worst clients, particularly the ones that drag out not paying you. Sun Cable is backed by mining magnate Andrew Forrest and tech billionaire Mike Cannon Brooks. Mr. Cannon Brooks is also the company's chair. The Sun Cable spokesman said the voluntary administration process unlocked a path forward to access additional capital to continue developing the company's signature Australia-Asia Powerlink project. Weren't there similar schemes like this proposed in North Africa, and they all fell over, every single one. And once you do the sums, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And you're building all of this infrastructure. I mean, transporting this much power for that distance, how much are you going to lose? The project aims to build 12,000 hectares of solar and battery storage on land on Powell Creek Station, about 70 kilometres southeast of Elliott in the Northern Territory. 12,000 hectares. And battery storage. Imagine all the embodied energy in a project like this. Construction was due to begin next year. Upon completion, AA Powerlink intends to supply, we'll see if it goes ahead, 20 gigawatts of power to Darwin via overhead cables, and then power to Singapore via submarine cables. 20 gigawatts. The project will generate enough renewable electricity to power more than 3 million homes a year. Well, 20 gigawatts, guys. Remember that number. We'll look at it in a bit of... We'll compare it to some other things. project information leaflet distributed claimed. Yep. The equivalent of cutting CO2 emissions by 11.5 million tons or removing 2.5 million cars off the road each year. Don't worry, petrol prices going up will remove a whole lot of cars off the road. Sun Cable founder and chief executive David Griffith said the project was still well placed for completion. Really? You've just gone into voluntary administration. How the hell are you well placed for completion? As we progressed our work, the demand for delivering reliable, dispatchable, 24/7 renewable energy in the NT in the regions has risen materially. Yeah, okay, but I mean, it's all bullshit. You need to build. We've looked at this in the past. When you take account for the extended amount of battery storage that you need to ensure that the renewable or variable renewable energy is as reliable as traditional baseload, environmentally it doesn't make any sense anymore because of all of the additional infrastructure you have to build. Then when you take into account the mining, the transportation, the construction of all of that, just to get on the same level as traditional construction, then you need to, by the time you get the energy payback, you'll need to re-energize the infrastructure. Now, what that means is replacing all the panels or replacing all the turbines. So pretty much rebuilding your infrastructure. I guess at least you can, all the concrete underground, that should still be okay, and maybe the steel frames should be okay. What else? I mean, the batteries, they'll all have to be re-energized too, and depending on how often you use them will impact how much the lifespan of that is. I mean, these things are nuts. These are nuts. It seems like a childish pipe dream, really. And you've got to understand, I mean, a tech billionaire, what does he know about construction projects? That's what these things are. You know, all the environmental scientists that are we need to shift to renewables. They know nothing about construction projects. These things are massive construction projects with huge embodied energies. And they're building in the middle of nowhere, or not in the middle of nowhere, but they're building in Northern Territory. So they're everything. You're going to have to fly a lot of stuff in, all the people, all the technical skills for a huge project. Sun Cable looks forward to developing and operating the project to meet this demand. Mr. Cannon-Brookes said Sun Cable has achieved so much since it was founded in 2018. I'm confident it will play a huge role in delivering green energy for the world, right here from Australia. I fully back this ambition and the team looking forward to supporting the company's next chapter. Well, let's just hope you haven't stiffed anyone on some money. Now, what was it, 20 megawatts? 20 megawatts or 20 gigawatts? It was gigawatts. There we go. 20 gigawatts. 20 gigawatts. So let's compare, guys. I just want to bring... Here we go. We'll look at here, Chinese coal. This is in a previous video we're looking at here, but one thing I want to draw your attention to is this here. All of these, and hang on, can I... Wait, okay, hang on. All of the power infrastructure that's in China, guys, there's a lot here. Now bear with me as I get us the link to jump to this website, because I want to compare how much 20 gigawatts is for these guys, for what we're building here in Australia, $35 billion, to what's going on over in China. So let's turn off everything except for their coal plants, because we'll look at that. We could probably look at oil refineries too, but still. Actually, let's, you know what, before we do that, let's look at China's nuclear power capacity. How much do they have here? Let's have a look. What's this guy here? There you go. 1,018 megawatts. 1,250 megawatts. 1,250. 298. Here you have 1,157 megawatts. And if we look here at their coal plants, can you give me a total? Can you give us a total? Not really. Doesn't look like it. 660 megawatts, 300 megawatts, 60 megawatts, 630 megawatts, 600 megawatts. These are all going to add up real quick to impact what they're producing here. And that's even before you account for all of the embodied energy in that project. So, well, let's look at one more takeaway, guys, or one more thing I would like to discuss. And that is, well, that's the concept of embodied energy. I want to make sure everyone's familiar with this, because I get the feeling this isn't a term the average Aussie is familiar with. So embodied energy is the energy consumed by all of the processes associated with the production of a building or infrastructure, from the mining and processing of natural resources to manufacturing, transportation, and product delivery. Embodied energy does not include the operation and disposal of the building material, which would be considered in a life cycle approach. Embodied energy is the upstream or front-end component of the life cycle impact of a home. Now, this is from a home's perspective, a housing perspective. But if you were to look at the entire embodied energy in the entire life cycle as well, when we're re-energizing the solar infrastructure, we need to dispose of the solar infrastructure. So you need to look at that. And here's a little chart just to show you how much embodied energy is in different things. So cement, here's the energy in production, and then the energy in transportation. How many megajoules with the range? 50 to 100. Same thing here, guys. It all adds up for steel. Bricks are pretty high. Look at that. Where's the real high one? I mean, cement, mortar, concrete, lime, even aggregate. These are all, of course, construction materials, because, well, I'm an architect and this is how I was taught this topic to look at. But you can break it down to every single product, to this here. I remember why I used to work with architects full of hippies, full of people who want to save the world and want to do green design. But when you actually look at something to a little bit of a greater depth, sometimes something that can make you feel good, like we're going to ban all disposable cups in the office and never use them and only use ceramic cups. That sounds good. It makes everyone feel nice. They all feel good. But when you explain to someone that the embodied energy in that manufacturing of this ceramic cup, the transportation and moving around, because it's much heavier than a disposable one, the amount of times you have to heat the water to clean it and to reuse it, and then you look at the average lifespan of a ceramic cup. It's probably better for the environment, if you dispose of it correctly, to use a disposable cup. Now, just that some people can't even comprehend that. But when you really analyze it and go, well, actually, that's the correct answer. And think about all of the recycling Australia's done for years. It was all shipped, to Malaysia and burned. Was it burned on the side of the road, or was it burned to generate power? If we were generating power, would it be smarter to burn it here? Because then you're not transporting it all the way over there. So you're doing the same thing, burning it in Australia or burning it in Malaysia. But to get it to Malaysia, you've got to ship it. So it's got more embodied energy. So, yeah. Let me know if you're familiar with this topic, guys, with embodied energy. Let us know. But otherwise, let's have a bit of a talk. Hang on. There we go. So, here's it. With all of this environmental push, I am quite concerned that we've got people that are pushing for massive infrastructure projects to get a political outcome, to get the feel-goods, but don't realize they may actually be contributing as a net negative to the environment. So this is why often, or surprisingly, particularly for Australia, because we have such an insignificant impact on the world, doing nothing would be better. Because building variable renewable energy, people may think it's cheaper. It's not. If it was cheaper, it wouldn't need the government forcing or manipulating the market to take it up. But then when you build the battery infrastructure to ensure that you can get 24/7 capacity, for how long? For a day? 2 days? 3 days? It's been 4 days now without significant wind in Queensland. You need at least a week, if not a month. Really, if you want to do it properly, fully renewable. I doubt it's ever going to be. I don't think it's ever going to achieve that. I think we'll have a whole lot of projects that will be big, bloody, pink elephants or whatever disasters. I just hope they don't destroy the infrastructure that we have now that still has good lifespan. But the problem is this push, this ideological push to these renewable projects, they're going to drive investment away from traditional power generation, which, frankly, has saved more lives than anything else. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know if embodied energy is a new concept to you, and share it with someone you know at work. As always, thanks for watching. Check out HeiseBIM or Heise Does. And if you're a fan of the channel and want to support the stuff that I talk about and ramble about, you can financially on YouTube or Patreon, using our referral links, buying our pocket squares, or calling us if you need an architect. Take care, everyone. Just one video today. We've been frantically working on the house, and my routine's completely out. So that's why I'm recording this at 9 p.m. Anyway, take care, guys. Have a great night. And this is actually coffee at 9 p.m. It shows you how damaged I am from years of architecture. I'll sleep.